All right. Uh, Hello, everyone. For those who are joining us live, thank you so much for doing so. I appreciate you guys for coming in. Just before we begin, I would love to know if you are hearing us okay and where you're coming from. If any of you guys were affected by the recent tornadoes and storms that we were affected by in the southern part, southwest part of United States, here in Texas, or if you are facing anything, please do let us know. I hope everyone is okay. So again, thank you for joining us live. Um, as you come in, please do let us know where you're coming from and if you can hear us. Okay. So we should be starting in the next 60 seconds. Just love to know where you're coming in from and if you can hear us. We will be beginning shortly. Piotr, how are you doing today?
I'm doing well, thank you, and hope everybody is doing good as well.
So yeah, we have on the call, we have Eugenia who will be hosting us today. We have Piotr and Lisa. All right, so we're excited to begin. So if you guys can hear us well, if you can put in the comment area, let us know that you're hearing us and we are good to go. We should be starting in the next 30 seconds. Again, thank you so much for joining us. All right, Matt. Oh, yeah, Matt is one of our superstars, man. Thank you, Matt, for engaging with us. Um, and thank you for just all the comments, the testimonials, the feedback. Adam, good to go. Now, I am in the country. I moved out in the country after COVID. I was like, man, another event like that wouldn't catch me in the city. But the disadvantage is that I'm still kind of getting my technology set up, especially when it comes to internet. So if there's a delay, if the quality is not the best, please forgive me. And then we have Caleb from Baltimore. All right, sounds good. Thank you guys for joining us. So as we continue this webinar, which we are going to dive in right now, please do ask your questions, put your comments in there. If we don't answer it right away, we will do towards the end of the webinar. And if we do have a lot of questions, we would definitely follow up with you if we cannot answer those live. All right. We have Amy from Canada. Thank you, Amy. So we have everyone across the globe. So, Eugenia.
All right. Hey everyone, thanks again for joining today. I'm Eugenia. I'm a team member here at Display.Church. And basically today we're just going to introduce a range of enhanced features that we've been working on over the past few months that you might not have a chance to explore yet. So we're going to be going through them today. And yeah, we'll just start with the team introduction. I'll let you guys introduce yourselves.
Well, you already heard from me, Jason, the co-founder here. Work on all the marketing things, product development, but we pretty much kind of have all hands on deck. But then we have Piotr, who is really the behind the scenes kind of guy who makes everything work. He's the actual developer, Piotr.
Yeah, hi, thank you, Jason. My name is Piotr. I'm technical founder, and I hope you are having a wonderful day.
And then Lisa. She's the glue. There's so many things she does. I don't think there's a role that can define her. But Lisa, how are you doing?
I'm good. Thank you very much. Hi, everyone. I'm really excited to show you what we have for you today.
So Lisa does the copy editing, the helping in marketing. She does the testing. She even do a little bit of coding. I mean, she is amazing. So we really appreciate her. And as Eugenia, who has joined us, has helped us look better online. She's just really good at this thing. So I really appreciate her. So let's dive in.
All right, so we have several updates to go over today. As you can see, some Google Calendar updates, Planning Center, some general updates, and also some 4 highly requested feature updates. So feel free to ask questions throughout this webinar in the chat, and if we run out of time, we'll make sure to get back to you by email. And if you are new and you're joining us today, stay until the end of the webinar to get a 90-day free trial. So yeah, let's go ahead and start with the updates.
Oops, I'm on mute. So first up is our Google Calendar updates. Many of our clients who are using church management systems like Planning Center or Breeze or church communication CCB, sorry, which is now called PushPay. Um, Many of you guys are actually also using Google. In fact, and then if you don't use a church management system, we believe that Google Calendar is really a good option for sharing your events. Now, what is this about, right? Why are we doing what we're doing at Display Church? We don't just only create widgets for you to put on your website. What we do is we optimize, we look at best practices, we look at what's the challenges that churches have. They have a ton of events and everybody sees everything all the time, everywhere. So we kind of looked at that problem and we said, look, how could we allow churches to easily, without hiring an IT team, to easily continue to do what they normally do within the apps that they do, and then allow them to share that data to specific segments of audience without overwhelming your parishioners. So a lot of what we do is segmentation, filtering, and obviously we also look at conversion. Are these events going to lead to conversion? When people see it, would it just look at it? Does it allow to, because at the end of the day, most events for most churches is you want people to come through your doors or attend an online class or register. So call to action is important. So that kind of phrase what we have done, and we wanted to just explain that again. And I think Google, for many of you guys who are not using one of those management systems, church management systems, or even if you are, it might be an additional option to consider, because the Google Suite, it's free, and many of you guys are using maybe Google Suite. So you already have this included. You already use Google Calendar to organize your day. Why not extend that and allow us to actually integrate that? So we have a few updates here. So we're actually going to go through those. The first update is actually, we just go to the next slide, is the ability to choose your Google Calendar. Now, this was not an option we had initially. We always had filtering. So all your Google, so if you have a Google Calendar, most people probably have one Google Calendar, their default Google Calendar. And usually Google will give you things like maybe the US or the Canadian holidays. There might be another default calendar that you don't use that they kind of include in your account. But if you're actually using Google correctly, you would actually set up a calendar, and for each event you add, you can add it to specific calendars, and then you can share those events with different people. So before, we allowed you to filter by those calendars, but by default, those calendars were included where we saw those events. So could you explain a little bit, Piotr, what is the benefit of this particular feature, and how can churches use it?
Of course. So let's start with security. You may have events that are private, like staff meetings, and you might wish to keep these events private and not expose them to public, which makes sense. With this update, you can tell Display.Church which calendars you would like to sync. So it makes easier to group events with Google Calendar, because you can create a dedicated calendar, as Jason has mentioned, per department or per ministry or per group, and then sync only these calendars to create widgets for specific purposes.
Excellent. So Lisa is
Jason?
actually going to show us a demo of how you can actually set this up and how you use this within our system. Lisa?
Right. So I'm in my integrations page, and I'm going to scroll down to Google Calendar. I'm going to click on the More menu, and I'm going to click on Edit. And if I scroll down, you'll see that Display.Church has taken in all the calendars that are associated with my login, but I've only chosen 2 of them. And I can change my choices, click the check boxes as I like, and then click Update. Whatever I check is what Display.Church will use. Jason?
Excellent. So this is actually something that we we think so. What happens is if you first integrate with us, as Lisa mentioned, and as I mentioned before, you tell us which calendars you want to sync over. So if you have your private events, we don't sync those over. So you can what so we do recommend for churches, if you're going to use Google, set up a secondary calendar event. And it's not too difficult to add. You just add a calendar. So whenever you add an event, you can probably set up one for public church. You can probably set up one for staff meeting, maybe something that is for kids or kids ministry. You don't want that online, but you want to share that. So again, the advantage with Google, you can continue to use it as you do normally, but when you set those up and you filter that through to us, we can then create widgets for you and be able to then you can embed that on your website. You can share it in your mobile app, and things of that nature. All right, so let's go on to the next thing, event colors. Event colors different from the calendar. So this is all under Google. So Lisa, tell us a little bit about that, the event colors. Well, actually, let me ask Piotr, what were some of the reasons we saw that people wanted this particular option? Piotr?
So this is quite specific to Google Calendar, where yes, hello. Hope you can hear me. Yeah. So with Google, which is very specific to Google, you can set a color of a calendar, but also you can set a color of particular event. You can override the calendar settings. And now the Display.Church will pull in more Google Calendar color palette from this integration, which seems like or feels like a minor update, but it's quite impactful for creating cohesive link between your Google Calendar and display events.
Excellent. So Lisa is actually going to show us a demo
Jason?
of how that works.
Right, so I'm going to show you my Google calendars first. I have two main calendars that I'm using today, a green calendar and a yellow calendar. And you can see that I have all kind of events here. So I have the yellow calendar, which is a team meeting happening on Sundays, as well as a green event one happening. And you can see this Display.Church webinar. We're here today on May the 20th, but it's kind of a reddish orange color. It's actually on the green calendar, but I've gone in here and I've changed the color just for this event. And when I come over to Display.Church, it's going to show up differently. As you can see, I have my green calendar, but the event today is showing up as a different color. Let me show you how we do that. You're going to be over in Design, Event Details, Events, Event Details. You're going to scroll down to Event Details, and you're going to use calendar color as accent color. If I toggle this off, we get the Display.Church default, which is a purple color. But when I toggle this on, it's going to pull in the calendar color. And in this case, it's going to pull in the color that I assign to that particular event. Of course, you always want to save to confirm your changes. And that's it, Jason.
So a question did come in from Matt. And Piotr, you can kind of review that question a bit, and maybe we would answer that after we go over the next update. I know we have had people using it that way, so I think the short answer is yes, but I'll let Piotr kind of give his answer in a short while. So if you can review that, Piotr. So let's go on to the next update, which is let's go to the next slide. I think that's me. All right. So what are so what's the benefits of this? Again, it just matches your branding, and if you're color coordinating your events, that as well brings over. So if it's important to you that you have certain colors for different things, not only do we color coordinate based on your Google Calendar. Remember, you can set up several Google calendars in one. Right? You can create like a sub calendar we'd coordinate to that color. But if the event has a unique color, which Google allows, we'd also honor that as well. All right. So so the third Google update before we move on is filter by location. So I'm just going to ask Piotr to give us what are some of the reasons we saw people wanting that? What are the reasons we built this feature?
So basically, this initially was to deliver two features. First is filtering. So right now, if you put the correct location in your Google Calendar event that has an address, Display Church will try to match this address with Google Maps, and it will become available for filtering. And what is most interesting, at least from a visual perspective, is that if Display.Church can actually pull the information from Google Maps about this place, then it allows you to display nice images of this place in your.
Excellent. So Lisa?
Yes, okay. So I'm going to my Google Calendar again, and I want to show you, I have to be here. I want to show you that some of my events have addresses, like for example, sorry about this. I want to show you that some of my events have addresses and some don't. And Piotr mentioned this, but I want to make this point very clear. When you select a location, an address, it has to be an address that Google can find. If Google can't find it, then this feature doesn't work very well. It's based on kind of like a Google map. So I come to Setup and Events Filtering, and I add filter. I scroll down. I'm going to click on location, and I'm going to click on Harvard. And let's see, it should pop up. Hang on. Massachusetts Hall. Okay. So I've got Massachusetts Hall. I click on Save. And as you can see, I'm only showing the event that's happening at Harvard University, Massachusetts Hall. And as Piotr mentioned, if I click on the pop-up, it has a very nice image of where the event is taking place. And it's that simple, Jason.
And this is huge. This is huge. Um this is the ability for, if you're using Google, not only could you filter by calendars. In fact, I don't know if we are going to talk about filtering by tags. I think that's a new feature that we'll talk about, but that's available. But you can also filter by locations. And not only could you filter by locations, we have the options that would display the Google places, right? So if your place is set up with Google, you have a Google place there, that image will filter. And so we are building these events from just being a simple event into a rich data, into a landing page, whereby if you wanted to just send that link out, which you're going to talk about, if you want to put that link as an ad, you want to do a weekly ad, you don't have to spend time recreating maybe a specialized landing page. You can possibly consider as a quick fix this option. Obviously, we can play with the colors. This is a demo site, so we have Lisa love these beautiful colors, but you can kind of match the colors. That's the beauty of what we do to your page, right? And I'm going to come back to Matt's question. I don't know if Piotr, you're still with us. Matt asked, do you have to be an owner of a Google Calendar to sync it, or can it be a calendar shared with me? Piotr?
Yes, so this is where Google Calendar is actually an amazing tool. And I've been actually doing exactly the same strategy of sharing calendars between Google accounts last week with one of our partners. So what you can do if you have a Google account, you sync this with Display.Church, and it will pull all of those calendars that you've selected to integrate with Display.Church. But also, someone else can share their calendars with you, and if you approve these calendars, they will also become available for Display.Church. You only have to select them for syncing, and it will pull the events from someone else's Google Calendar in your Display.Church account.
Excellent. So, Matt, I hope we answered your question. So, actually, let's go on to the next segment. Eugenia? You're on mute.
Sorry about that. But yeah, those were all of the Google Calendar updates. Let us know if you have, any more questions that you might think of later in the chat. pertaining to them, but we'll just go ahead and start with some Planning Center updates next.
All right. So first up is something quick. Contact email display. Piotr, talk us through what was the challenge here and what did we do? I think Piotr is still on mute. But we had the actually I
So
think
maybe I'll jump in.
yeah, I think Lisa, go ahead.
And it was that in Planning Center, there is some information. There was some information that was unavailable to us with the API. So we reorganized our options, and I'll show you how it works. This is for groups. Okay, so this is for the groups widget. So I'm using PCO cards grid, and if I come over to design, and I'm going to find my badges section, and I show primary basic information badge. I have that toggled on, and I choose contact email. And as you can see, the contact email is displayed. And if I click on my pop-up, I also have the contact email displayed in my pop-up. And that's it.
Excellent. So a quick little update there. So obviously this is good if you want people to actually take action and contact the owner. So again, just a quick update. Update number 2 for Planning Center is the ability to customize the description on the sign-up form. So basically, before it was just set, but now you have the option to do unlimited. You have the option to do and the benefit to this, obviously, we know what it is, right? So on the Lisa, I'm just going to dive into the demo. It'll make more sense. Lisa.
Okay, so I'm here in a sign up, and as you can see, I have one event with a description. I'm going to click on design, and I'm going to toggle off limit summary lines. And if I toggle that off, I get all the details that that we've put in there, but I don't want to see that in my main view. So I'm going to click on limit summary lines, and then I'm going to play with the number of lines. At the moment, you see there are 3 lines, and I can increase and decrease as I like. And that's it, Jason.
Excellent. So just a quick feature there. And update number 3 is the filtering options for sign up forms. And this is huge. This really gets into making things very useful for you. So, when the sign up forms option, which is called registrations in Planning Center, actually isn't something that there's a direct API for it. So there's a lot of workaround. We were able to, because we understand the structure of Planning Center and how they do things, we're able to bring that for you. So there are a lot of the options that you may want, we may not have yet, but we did add 2 additional filters for you. Lisa, you want to talk about that?
Sure, absolutely. So I'm in setup, and when I click on filtering, add filter, you see there's category and campus. And I just want to show you, I'm going to pop over to our help desk article. Let me just see. Yes, you can see my screen. Okay. So I just want to point out that the way you do this is you're going to be in your registration section, and you're going to click on your actions, and you're going to get to the configuration tab. And if you come to the configuration tab, you have categories and campuses. And that's where you set this. And then when you do a resync, we can pull that in and you can filter by these options.
Excellent. So again, just more options. So if you have sign up forms that you want to display, let's say on a campus page, or if you want to set up different categories, featured forms, or forms for VBS, or forms for new guests, or a new Bible class, that's something that you can do now once you have that set up. So you don't just have all the forms for everyone. you can kind of filter that out, grab the widget, and move on. So yeah, Eugenia.
All right. Well, we hope you really saw the benefits of these new feature updates for both Google Calendar and Planning Center. So we'll go over some general updates next, and then we have some 4 exciting new features that have been highly requested by many of you that we know will greatly benefit your ministry. So, Jason.
Excellent. So we are pushing ahead. Now, if you're a push-based CCB user, the interesting thing is when we first started this application, it was called CCB Events at that time, and then we have migrated into just Display.Church.events. But we actually now Display.Church, and there's a question that came in. Well, for the first part, we have tons and tons of CCB push pay updates. In fact, I think the way how CCB works, it actually is deeper connected. We don't have any specific updates today, but I think you would really like some of the general updates, plus 4 new featured, interesting top updates that we'd like to share with you. So do stick around. I think you'll benefit, and we will continue. If you're a push-based CCB user, could you tell me what is something that you would like us to do for you? If there's any push-based CCB users on this call, if you can put in the comment, maybe there's something that you would like us to improve on, put it in the comment. But I think we generally look at our feedback board, our roadmap board, and we are always constantly doing developments there. So there may not be any specific CCB updates this time around, but know that we are constantly improving it. So let's move on to some of these general updates that applies across the board. So the first one is time without date. This was based on a feedback from our feedback roadmap board. Remember, please continue to put your feedback, your requests. We do look at those. We do consider those. Upvote the ones that you want to. Regina, if you can put the link in there, feedback.display.church, so that people can have that. So, Lisa, could you tell us a little bit about this time without dates?
Yes, I'm ready. So I'm going to use a Breeze calendar at the moment. I will be using also CCB. And we're in the design section, and we're in events, and we scroll down to show event time. The first thing I want to say is that this event time is not the event time in your main calendar display. It's the event time in your accordion or your pop-up. So we have 3 options. One is the regular, one is the compact, and one is the short. I want you to notice, it's hard to see, but this is an all-day event, and it spans 2 days. And that, I chose it because I want to show you something about your choices. So if I choose the regular and I click on the pop-up, I scroll down, and I get all day, Tuesday, May 7th to Wednesday, May 8th. And then I'm going to go for compact. And you can see it changes. No, it doesn't change. Hang on a second. That must be because this is an all-day event. Let me quickly go to another calendar. Let's go to this calendar. Okay. So probably this is the calendar I wanted to go to. But that's a good point. I guess it doesn't change for all-day events so that it won't be confusing. Let me go to where I need to be. Events, show event time. Okay, so I'm here again. I've got regular, and I've got all day. Wait a minute, I don't know. Hang on a second, let me try. If not, let's do something else and we'll come back to this. No, let me find another. Let's go to the next one, and I'll come back to this one because I think it works differently for all day events.
Right. So, I mean, the main value here is that if you didn't want to put the date, you can put that in there. So we can definitely show you that another time.
Oh, I've got it. Wait, I've got it. I have to use a non-all day. So here's regular non-all day, May 19th, Sunday, 7 a.m. So it's showing you the month, the date, the day, and the time. It's spanning another day. Okay, so I go to compact, and I click on again, and I've got the day and the time. Now, short only gives me the time. So if you have an event that spans more than one day, you might not want to pick the short example because this kind of time display might look sort of confusing. But if you have an event that only lasts an hour or two, this is great. And people wanted to be able to display less information. They said it was kind of like information overkill. So now we've got it. Back to you, Jason.
Thank you, Lisa. And on the screen kind of summarizes what Lisa was trying to show or showed us: regular, compact, and short. Again, these small tweaks just allows you to, it shows that we're always paying attention to what you want, but it actually makes sense where you don't have unnecessary information. All right, so let's go on now. We almost finished with the general updates, and then we have four new features I think you'd really like. One of our four major features, so do stick towards the end. The next is hide image option. This was another question, feedback, a request that came in from one of you guys. And this is because the person did not have any images on their Google Calendar. They didn't need it. So again, just a quick option there, Lisa.
Yep. So I'm again in this cards list. I'm in events, cards views events, and I notice that I have an image and the description. If I toggle off show image container, I just have the description, and that's it.
And this probably works for, especially for Google Calendars, if you're not putting in images, even though we do sync images in your into from Google into your app. So you could add images in Google and sync those over. But if that's not your workflow, if you're using especially some of these other views that you don't need it, that's something that you'd find very useful. All right. And then we have the hide show image container. Oh, that's actually the same thing. It was broken up. So just kind of showing you visually there on the slide what that is. All right, and moving on to the full monthly calendar view limit pills. What was interesting in this is that I think it's an interesting feature. If you're using the full calendar, you definitely want to, you may not be aware of this. By default, when you first used our calendars, we showed 2 events for every cell, so every day, and then there was like a plus more. Now the default is actually 3 per day. However, we have options for you to actually do it for unlimited. So maybe you do want to show as many as events as possible, or you can set a different number. Lisa, could you show us that?
Yep. So I'm in a CCB monthly view, which is push pay, of course. And I'm only showing future events, which is why it's blank up here. And if I toggle off limit number of calendar pills displayed, you can see that all the events are displaying for every day. So the 19th has one event, this has more, this has a lot. If I toggle on limit number of calendar pills displayed, I've chosen 3. So every day that has 3 events will show 3 events. Obviously, the 19th only has 1. It can only show 1. And I can show more events or I can show fewer events. And that's it.
Excellent. And let's move on to update, a general update number 4. Another feedback. Again, continue to send us your requests in. Upvote them. So we had the customized call to action. And then this is a quick one. And this on the screen just shows you that you can now set the call to action for as left, center, or right. Lisa?
Yep. So I'm in the cards grid push pay or CCB. I'm in the calls to action section. I'm showing a CTA button. And as you can see, I've chosen open event page as my action. And the learn more is in the right position. So I can choose to move it to the center. I can choose to move it to the left. And I can also choose to have it display the full width. It's that simple, Jason.
Excellent. And we're moving on to update number 5. So this is a pop-up background color. We had several requests for this. And in fact, we recently had someone ask us, I think it was Matt who was on the call. I'm not sure. We have 2 Matts on the call, one with 1 T, one with 2 Ts. Thank you for joining us. But the ability to actually have a transparent background, and that's actually an option. But we want to talk about first about the pop-up background. Lisa, could you kind of explain what's going on here?
Sure. So The pop-up background is when I click on an event, I get a pop-up, okay? Not the accordion, the pop-up option. So people wanted to be able to change the background to make it more branded for their church. So if I go to the events listing details colors section, and if I scroll down, I'm going to find something that's called pop-up background and background, okay? So notice that I have a light blue color for the pop-up background, and I have a kind of a beige color for the background. And if I click on my pop-up, the background, this is the pop-up background, the light blue color, and the details is the background. Okay, so they're background and background, but one is pop-up and one is just background. And you can choose whichever colors you want.
And you can make the background color transparent. Yeah, Matt is actually posting it in here. So if you wanted to, could you show them the A value, Lisa, next to the color? So when you open up the color picker.
Yes. So when you open up the color picker, you see you have a hex value and you have also the RGBA. So you can use whichever values you know, and you can match your church website, and you can also put a transparent color. And I just want to make sure that
Piotr, is that A value, right? And you change it to say 0%, I would suppose, Piotr. I think he's frozen. Yeah, but yeah, Matt says it.
Yes, so RGBA stands for red, green, blue. Yeah, sorry, I have an internet connection problem here. I was trying to explain that RGBA stands for red, green, and blue, where RGBA, red, green, and blue are easy to understand, where alpha is the channel of transparency, as Matt wrote on in the comment section. Thank you.
Thank you, Matt. Thank you, Matt. So if you wanted to have that, you can definitely do that. So let's actually press on.
Before we press on, hang on 1 second. Before we press on, I just want to mention that this is available in groups too. Okay, and it's in the pop-up style, so it's in the groups widget as well. And here it's called overlay, background, and header section background. Okay, so so here you have the overlay background, and this blue at the top is the header section background. Okay, now we can press on.
Excellent, excellent. So video links preview. This is actually getting into something that is interesting. So I'm actually going to let Piotr talk a little bit about this. We actually was working on this option for a particular non-church. We have a different product that we quietly launched for businesses, and a lot of these new features actually were derived from some of the requests from these government and corporations, and this was one of them, right? So Piotr, could you talk us through what is the benefit? What is OG data? What is video links preview? Well, this is actually video links preview. So could you give us a little insight there, Piotr?
Of course. So it started from the idea of how much metadata we can pull out from the event description, from the event's metadata. And it turns out that the event description might be rich in the visual data that are not that visual at the first glance. So for example, video links. You can put a link to a video and it will turn to be a link. So someone can click on that and go to a different platform and watch the video. But what if we could turn the link into something that can be embedded into the event description, show the preview, and allow user to watch this video without going anywhere else? So they will still stay on your website, watch the video, and carry on with browsing the information about the event. So what we did, we are offering a new option, new feature that will turn your links to videos as embeddable preview video to watch. And we are supporting now Vimeo and YouTube links in Display.Church.
So Vimeo and YouTube, correct, is the platform. So Lisa, show us exactly what Piotr is talking about.
Absolutely. So I'm in a card spread Breeze integration, and I'm in the event section. I'm in the events section, and I scroll down to a place called Details Enhancement. And at the moment, this is toggled off. Let me show you what it looks like when it's toggled off. It's just a regular link, not very exciting. But if I toggle it on, now I've got a preview right in my pop-up. And when your people click on, it might take a second or two to load. And you can already see the video right there without going to another platform, Jason.
Yeah, I noticed Vimeo takes a little bit longer to load, but no, I think this is really great. Again, if you want, just add the YouTube link, add the Vimeo link, and you can build your details page where it's going beyond just here's a bunch of events with information, but you could communicate to them exactly what you need to without having to set up a separate landing page. Now, separate landing pages are probably very important for bigger campaigns, but if you're doing something on a weekly basis, you might want to consider using Display.Church more, putting those events in there, and then just grabbing that link and going. It really would reduce your workflow when things are repeating on a frequent basis. So let's go again, update number 7. And we almost did the 4 major updates. So we have event alerts, countdown timer, and we can just quickly talk about that, Lisa.
Okay, so people said that if it's an all-day event, the countdown timer isn't really relevant and they would like it off. So if it's an all-day event, all these in my calendar here are all-day events, and you see there's no timer. I can toggle this off, I can toggle this on, it doesn't matter. No timer will display.
Excellent. So it's just a quick update. So I would love to know if any one of you guys are using the Event Alerts product. The Event Alerts works automatically with your events. It shows up as a banner at the top and it goes away automatically. I think it's a really good workflow. You know, there's a lot of event alerts or sort of banners that you have to remember to set and forget and to remove. Maybe unless you're using like a live streaming one that probably does it for you, but that keeps repeating. So I would definitely recommend checking out the event alerts. Matt isn't using it. It might be an option for you. You don't have to force fit it, but we have some improvements that will make it make sense, right? So if you have some weekly things happening, I would say use the event alerts for featured events. You don't want to show everything because it becomes distracting, right? Create a category or a tag or something called featured events, and you might want to use that for that, right? So yeah, Matt W have used it. Matt, I don't want to say your last name, sorry, but the Super Matt has not used it yet. But I definitely recommend that you check it out. All right. And the final kind of general updates before we end with the 4 major updates. So this is the final kind of general updates. Again, along the line with event alerts, we have a simple option where you can open the call to action in a new window. So it's just something simple. So if that was a problem for you, so with our banners, you can add a call to action, right? And that call to action would link to the event. If you want to include a call to action, now you can say whether it opens and in the same window or opens in a new window. So, Lisa?
Yeah, so I'm in a CCB event alert this time, and I'm in the call to action section. I'm showing the call to action button, that's this one right here. And I either toggle it on to open in a new tab or toggle it off and it will open in the same tab, and that's it.
Now, Eugenia.
All right. So now we are going into our 4 highly requested updates. This is one that a lot of you guys have been requesting and looking forward to. So let's go ahead and dive into them.
All right. So first up, I started to mention this before. It's our Open Graph Data protocol, and this is huge, Piotr. This is huge because, and it's actually based on several requests. It's based on something we want to do. So when you share different links from your event, right? How does that look via text, via social media, if you want to use those links in ads? This is what we're talking about. Piotr, could you explain a little bit more about this technology and some of the uses?
Yes, so depending on where you will share your events, and this is actually one of the priorities that I'm still here. Sorry, something dropped out. Yeah, so when you're sharing your events, and this is something that the most of the important item aspect of sharing of having the events, right? To have the more people learn about your events. So when you are sharing these events through your email client or social media channels or any dedicated lab like WhatsApp Messenger, things like that, these applications are creating previews of the links that you are sharing. So the better it looks, the more likely people will engage with these links. So we took the advantage of Open Graph Protocol, and we put all of the metadata from your events and your calendar as well to enrich the data and make these application make the nice previews of the events that you are sharing.
Excellent. So again, this is really huge. When you send it via
Jason?
a shared link, or you post it on a social media platform, or you want to use it in an ad, it now pulls in that data, right? So Lisa, could you show us a little bit about that?
Okay, so let's go to the next slide in the presentation, please. Improve sharing options. Oh, yeah, improve sharing options.
Okay, right. Yeah, there's exactly. So yeah, there's nothing to show there. Sorry.
Yeah,
So yeah,
sorry.
update number two. Let's. So update number two is about improved sharing options. So this is a major update. So Lisa, take it away. We're going to talk about QR codes and native sharing.
Okay, so that's part of the result of the Open Graph metadata. Okay, so I'm going to be in a CCB cards grid, and as you can see, I have a share button here. So how did I get that? Sharing has moved to its own section now. It's called sharing, and if I click on it, I have share calendar. That's this share button. And if I click on this share button, I'm going to get a display that people can use to share the whole calendar. You have a QR code, you have social media links, you have a copy paste link that you can use. And all this display is editable. So that means that you can choose the colors and the formats. It gets very detailed, but it's all editable. And the other thing that you can do is you can also share your event. And if I click on, if I toggle on show share options in event details, and I scroll down to my share button, I'm going to get that same pop-up. And what you're going to see here are what we call native sharing options. They'll differ depending on the digital device that is opening this link. So my desktop shows these, but somebody's iPhone might show something else, or somebody's Android might show something else. And that's this update, Jason.
And that's huge because we always had the individual option to share an event. As Lisa mentioned, we now can share the entire calendar, and you have similar experiences where you can do the QR codes. So you can embed that, you can print that out and put it on a banner. And these things are simple, but we have made it easy for you. So if you wanted to set up a ministry calendar and you don't necessarily have a page, or you don't want to send them to a page, you can just kind of grab that. But the native sharing ensures that it shares better, faster, right? And you can still copy the links. So that's one of the major updates that we have worked on. I think it'll be very useful for you. There's two more we're going to talk about before we close. Number three, this was actually was the most highly requested feature for a number of years. And it's something that we have worked on. Initially, our system was not set up for multi-users. So we have the first phase of that. You may have seen some of these things. So now you can invite your team to help you manage this. And If you're an agency, there's features coming later on. If you're working with multiple clients, this would definitely help you do that as well. Now, we do have, on a side note, we do have an affiliate program. So you might want to check us out, check that out. Display.Church / affiliates. But anyway, but this multi-users is huge. I think again, it's something simple. We had to update our technology. So Lisa, why don't you not show them what we have so far?
Okay, so for a change, I'm not in a calendar and I'm not in the events section. I'm in my thumbnail and I'm going to click on Manage Organization. And when I click on Manage Organization, I have an option which is Members. And all I do is I click Add More Members. I type the email and I choose the role, which is either owner or admin. And once I type something, I can click on Save Changes. Now, once I click on Save Changes, Display.Church automatically sends an invite to the person that you've typed in here, the email that you've typed in here, and it monitors it. So it will show you whether that person accepted your invite or didn't accept your invite, or if they're still waiting to take action. And that's how you add new members, and it's so easy, just a few clicks.
Exactly. So again, it's something simple that we are accustomed to on most websites, but it took us a while to kind of get that set up. We're excited about it, and I think again, you can ensure that other people can log in and help you manage this. It's the first version. I know there's always things that could be done. Maybe you want things to see like restrictions. That gets into some of the nitty gritty of things. It might take more time to do that. Maybe you want, I think another one that we may do next is the organization of your calendars into folders. That was a request as well. So, just allowing you to expand the management of your events and include a team. So there isn't one person or one login, and each person can engage. If each person needs support, they can ask questions via our chat and they can get the responses directly to their email. So again, this was a big feature. So if you need help, if you have a bigger team, you might want to consider adding additional members. And the final feature that we want to talk about today, something that was dear and near to me for a number of years. We had this spec'd out and designed for a number of years. We just couldn't get to it. Is featured highlights. The ability to use one calendar and then show the featured events from that calendar. All right. Again, it also allowed us to add a new view. So we created a special view called tiles, which you can use independent, but this tile view is what is pulled out when you turn on the feature events. We always had featured labels for a number of years, right? But now we have actually brought it out so you can actually show the events that matters the most. So maybe you have a general calendar, an all-purpose, everything on calendar type thing, and that's your workflow. You don't have time to set up multiple calendars. But even if you do have a ministry focused calendar like youth, you might still have so many events that you would want to bring attention to them, what is most important. All right. So we're going to kind of talk about that. Have anyone used the featured highlights? I would love to know if anyone have used the featured highlights while Lisa shows us a demo.
Okay, so I'm in a cards grid CCB and I'm in the setup. And what I've done is I've selected for my feature event, I've selected the location is main campus. And you can see that in my main calendar view, I have the featured event badge turned on. And this is great, but it could get lost, especially if you have a lot going on in your church. So what I've also done is I've toggled on show featured event highlights. I'm going to toggle this off for a minute, and I just have my regular calendar. But if I toggle it on, I've chosen the tiles option. You can have cards grid, cards list, and slider. Obviously, you want to choose something that's different from your main calendar. Tiles is a really good option because they're small, but you can do a lot with them. And once I toggle it on, these are all the events at the top that would have the featured events badge at the bottom. So all these events are going to show in a display at the top. Now, once you do that, you want to pay attention that when you get to design, you now have, hang on a second, I got it, it got off. Let me turn it on again. Sorry about that. Once you get to design, you notice now you have main design and featured highlights. So you want to make sure that if you want to edit or customize your main calendar, you're in main design. And if you want to customize your featured highlights, you're in the featured highlights design. And you can do many, many things with this. For example, with the tiles, you can show things, you can take things off, you can change the size. For example, here's medium. Okay, you can have it rounded, you can have them square, you can have them circles. Obviously, you can change the colors. If you had pictures, images, they would display. So it's just like having a mini calendar display at the top of your main calendar display of your featured events. So they definitely stand out.
Excellent. And yeah, this demo doesn't do it justice because we have had no images. But you can think social media, you can think highlights on Instagram, you can think these most social media apps have highlights, right? Or things that is at the attention. So we kind of we were inspired by that sort of a flow. What would draw the person eyes to this immediately? But not only could you use tiles, could you show a different one, Lisa, when you use a different type of template outside of tiles? And you can also limit the while she does that, you can limit the number of featured highlights that shows at any point in time. So if you have a lot, you can probably limit it to the next 3 or 4. So right. So she have picked a featured highlights using calendar lists. And let's say we limit that to 1, Lisa. Let's change it to 1 featured. All right. So then this is the next featured highlights. And again, you may not want to choose the same design as your main calendar, but that's totally up to you. So again, we create those separations for you. You have your main calendar, you have your featured events. So as we come towards the close, does anyone have any questions for us? And which feature are you most excited about? Any questions, comments? Please let us know. Is anyone new here for the first time, checking out this for the first time? We do have a invite code that you can use. But if you don't have any questions or comments, okay, Matt was asking about the AI search. That's something we had launched a few months now. I believe I got an update from Piotr that we would put that live for you tomorrow. Much have changed since we had done this. Our thoughts have changed on it. So we'd definitely like to get your initial feedback on what it is. But I think we have better ideas of where it's going. It's still in alpha testing. So we would talk about that later on. And you should get a link with the next steps. All right. So once we get that set up, it was broken. So we need to get that set up. Is there any other questions or comments? Thank you, Samuel. Thank you, Amy, for joining us and checking this out. Matt, appreciate you guys, everyone who attended today. Um, Searchable large calendar, great, great, great. Yes, definitely check that out. Eugenia?
All right. Yeah, I know we covered a lot today, but we hope you learned something new, and all of these updates are available, so you can go ahead and try them out today. And if you have any more questions, feel free to email us. But yeah. And also, if you are new and you're joining us today, normally we offer a 30-day free trial, but just for attending today's session, we're offering a free 90-day trial. So make sure you use the coupon code Display.Church when you check out. You'll see on the little blue arrow, you can use, do you have an invite code, and just use the code Display.Church. So yeah, thank you guys so much for joining today.
And thank you, everyone.
Yeah,
Bye.
thank you guys.